It was after the First World War that people and scientists in Germany first started thinking in terms of chemical fertilizers more and more. It was after the Second World War that it was again in Germany that some scientists started in terms of organic farming. Of course, this was the time of the beginning of the so-called Green Revolution. Out of the known methods which have been functioning so far as organic farming is concerned in the whole world, the best known, widely used, from which so many people have benefited is by Dr. Rudolf Steiner, what is called the biodynamic method. For all organic farmers, practically all over the world, this is the best method known. Of course, along with that, there are some other things like French intensive methods. There is something recently that has come by Jean Pain. But the standard method is biodynamic. Actually, I think it was in the year 1924 probably that Dr. Rudolf Steiner started giving some lectures expecting that these chemical fertilizers and all agrochemicals are going to bring ruin one day. And then, although he was a normal scientist with all the credentials, he was thinking in some other direction. In those days, people might call him even crazy for thinking in such terms now. In those biodynamic farming also, certain preparations are made, what are called 502, 501 and all that, where they're using the cow's horn and put some cow dung in it and bury it, and some other simple thing make these preparations also. All these years it was working very well. But then a time came that the same method of farming started giving less and less results. It is not the fault of that method. This is because the extremely hybrid polluted conditions of the world. The whole world has changed in the last 40 years as perhaps it has not changed in the last thousands and thousands of years now. Now, quickly, several of those biodynamic farmers in many countries of the world, especially South America and parts of Europe, we have seen, much more so in South America, they have taken to homo farming. When we talk of homo farming, this comes from what is called the lost science of Ayurveda. Ayurveda is a branch of Atharva Veda. There are several branches. One is called Gandharva Veda, that is the science of music. Another one is what is called Dhanur Veda, that is the science of interplanetary weapon system, which is a lost science. Another one, which is called Ayurveda, what in India, for example, we hear about or what is taught, hardly it is 10% left. Most of the knowledge is lost. Part of it is called Vriksha Ayurveda, that this science as related to plant kingdom. Of course, this is all biological functioning, so several things are common. In this Vriksha Ayurveda, for example, one basic process is told. It was a lost science, but one great yogi who has now left the body, the great avatar, he resuscitated this knowledge and of this homo farming and homo healing and homo medicines, for example, now. The basic method is what is called Agnihotra in homo farming. The idea is you heal the atmosphere and the healed atmosphere heals you. Now, this has been tried not only on a small scale, not only in each individual diseased area, whether it is citrus, whether it is other type of fruits, whether it is short cycle vegetables or long cycle vegetables, whether it is beans or whether it is cereals, it has been tried in all of it. And this has been tried in Peru. The Department of Agriculture I mean, agronomical engineers connected with the with the president's office, president of Peru, I'm talking the Republic of Peru. At one time, we made these observations on 3,000 acres, so which is not a small area. All the crops that grow in the area, I'm talking of Amazon area, and today, thousands of farmers are practicing this Homa therapy. What is called Homa therapy? The word Homa, I am using it synonymously with Homa, Havana or Yajna. But Homa is a simple word, so we call it Homa therapy. So we tell the people, try all organic methods that you know. But if you have a problem, then introduce these Homas and you will see that your problems are solved. This is how we approach the people. Now when we talk of these extremely polluted conditions of the day, let us have a glimpse of it just in a few minutes, what all the top scientists of the world unanimously agree. They say that there is such a great disturbance in the ozone layer. That means the sun's rays, before they touch the planet, have to pass through a filter of ozone. And there are so many holes in that filter, that means the sun's rays, unfiltered, now touch the earth. According to the ancient teachings of what we call ancient Vedic scientific teaching, they also mention something like that. But they mention it in a different way. They mention about farming and how it will help, these ozone things will help it. They say that before the sun's rays touch the planet, they should pass through a carpet of filter. And this carpet of filter can be created by practice of Yajna. This is how the Yajna means the practices of Homa. There are a number of Homas, so many things, but then the details goes what is to be used for agriculture and what is to be used for other purposes. But the basic idea is you heal the atmosphere and the atmosphere heals you. And to heal the atmosphere, to keep this energy cycle of the planet in harmony, the basic process is tuned to the circadian rhythm of sunrise and sunset. Circa means round, diem means day in Latin, yes. Circadian, that means rhythm around the day. Not much was known to the scientists. I mean, they had never cared to go into this. It started only say about 25, 30 years ago. I remember near Washington, at Bethesda, Washington DC, there is the world famous Institute of National Health. They were working how this affects, these rhythms affect nature. And for the first time they said that certainly, they have such great effect on the functioning. Well, it's a simple matter, all over known, but scientists started going more into that from that time. Now, for example, in several European languages, you find the word for a mad person, the word is lunatic, lunatico, and all that. Luna in Latin means moon. So, affected by the moon. So, you can say this full moon, no moon is another cycle which affects. So, the basic cycle to keep the planet in harmony, sunrise and sunset. In this ancient science of Vriksha Ayurveda, as it is known, and even this is the same thing applies, this basic process for human healing, plant kingdom, and also animals. They describe sunrise like this. This is not a definition, but this is a description that they give. The coordinate of the planet where the sun appears to rise, a flood of energy comes from the sun, which consists of several types of electricities and subtle energies. They are using the word electricity in the plural, by the way, and I am translating in plural. They say that this has a great purificatory effect. That means you have to catch the first ray of the sun exactly. When that first ray of the sun touches your farm, that is very important. At that very moment, you have to do something and utter some particular mantra which has some vibratory effect on the atmosphere. And in a pyramid, we are preparing a small fire. I'll come to that fire, basic fire of aromatherapy. I'll come to that part a little later now. So they say that so far as this earth is concerned, I know only about our earth, but they say that on other planets also these things exist. And it is described like this, in ancient tradition of knowledge, Vedic knowledge, Guru tradition of knowledge. For people on this planet is boo-hoo for them. For somebody on another planet, his planet will be boo-hoo for him. Then Bhuvaha refers to the interim space in between the planets, and Swaha refers to the solar range. So this refers to one solar system. And like that, there are numberless billions of solar systems, what we call Ananta Koti Brahmanda Nayaka, that was numberless billions of solar systems, that is category is one system. Out of that, the conditions for our Earth. And for our Earth, they describe like this: if you practice this small Agnihotra fire, it is tuned to the biorhythm of sunrise and sunset. Then, as soon as you put a little rice and utter the word Swaha and put that rice, is a part of that mantra, that Swaha. Then the first effect goes approximately 12 kilometers in space, so far as this Earth is concerned. And while that fire lasts after doing this mantra, there will be an aura energy field around each blade of grass, each tree, each plant in the vicinity, in the surrounding area. Now, so the first effect goes approximately 12 kilometers, and again it rebounds to that pyramid. That means where we are doing the fire, that something it brings from above and it comes back to the pyramid. And while those energies come back, then because of this aura energy field in the surrounding area, which lasts so long as this fire lasts, all this energy is absorbed by the trees and they do not require any further nutrition. That is how they describe it. And we have experienced it in many cases in a small area, in a large area also. Now, this is the description. No scientist has tested these 12 kilometers and all that, but we have seen in, you can say, 1,000 cases, but we have seen the results of that. Then they say this has a special effect on the earthworms. The earthworms become very happy. First they describe that if you do this process exactly at this moment of sunrise, then the plants become happy and they give a feedback effect of love to the atmosphere. And that is how the whole atmosphere also changes. Earthworms become happy, they produce more. So this is the material benefit. If earthworms are able to produce more, procreate more, that means it leads to better aeration of the soil, and naturally it is going to help the whole process of farming. The second thing, very important thing, is it has a wonderful effect on the honeybees. Now you can see that the whole world, there is a phenomenon now that bees are disappearing, bees are diseased. So far as India is concerned, we have had recently some consignments of exported honey returned because it had so much of contamination, so much chemical. Recently there was a survey in Colombia, in country Colombia in South America, and in that wild forest area from where they collected the honey, there was very, very high percentage of this chemical contamination. That means even in the forest they have reached, so this is the condition of the bees. Here, the whole thing will become better with this Homa, and then bees actually produce more. We have seen even more than 1.5 times they produce, these things. So far as normal production is concerned, you see what happens is, so far as we have seen in different parts of the world, if you use this method of Homa farming, then this will give you more quantity per acre than any known method in the world today, in more quantity per acre or per hectare. Then secondly, this will give you better quality. That means the taste will improve, the texture will improve, the color will improve, the disease resistance will improve, the harvesting losses will be less, and much more so, the shelf life itself will improve. So, whatever the factors that you can think of, this is superior. So we tell the people, we share this free all over the world, take it or leave it if you want to do it. It is taught all over the world free. So whosoever is practicing organic farming, the basic thing is there should be no agrochemicals. So when you do that, and if you have any problems, then introduce this Homa. Of course, we are going to do it with this Homa, is very important. Homa farming also includes, it's not excluding but including what you call good composting, then good vermiculture thing, just to. Now we can look at it another way. For example, if you have to do interplanting in Homa, by the way, Agnihotra 2 to sunrise and sunset is the basic process. Then there is another Homa which you have to do. It is called Mrityunjaya Homa. That is, what is called as Om Trambakaye Yajavahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urva Ardhuvandana Mrityum Shyamamrita Swaha, and you put a little, a drop of ghee. This should be done 4 hours per day, and on full moon, and that is on Purnima and Amavasya day, full moon, new moon, no moon, you have to do it as many hours as possible, because there are very special energies. Now, how to get this exact timing when the first rays of the sun touch the farm? So, we are working all over the world, different parts of the world now, and these volunteers, everything is free. They volunteers, they go with their own money. Each volunteer should have a GPS in his hand. About 3 years ago, 2 years ago, even 3 years, this technology was not so much developed. You see, the machines were costly and the technology was not good enough. But now it is wonderful technology. With this GPS, it is ground positioning system, you can get in say about less than 60 seconds, that is less than 1 minute, you can connect with 5 or 6, more than 6 satellites, US American satellites, which are very close to the earth and which are meant for this agriculture and other purposes, for locating for all positions. You wait for another 60 seconds, the first is 1 minute, and less than 2 minutes the whole process is over. You get up to 3 decimal points the exact location of that farm on the planet. Then our software is made in Germany. It is based on the definition of sunrise and sunset given by the Rishis of Atharva Veda as it is told in the ancient Guru tradition of knowledge. This is scientific knowledge. So we are basing on that. So there might be a few seconds difference, but we stick to that old formula. So everyone has to carry a laptop computer, a printer, and also this GPS. So in a few minutes, they will give you the printout of all the 365 days in a year when the first rays of the sun will touch that particular farm. Exactly at that time, you have to perform this process of Agnihotra. Now for Agnihotra, you need a copper pyramid. It has to be copper or gold. These are the only 2 metals prescribed and no other metal. Of course, if you cannot even afford copper, the last choice could be earthen pyramid. But normally it is the copper pyramid now. It has a fixed shape and size. There are so many pyramid type things are available. By the way, the word pyramid in English language, all these European languages come from Sanskrit, but they come to Europe via Latin and Greek. That is what all the, you go to any university and go to the Department of Linguistics, anywhere in the world where any European language is spoken, they will tell you all our things have come via Latin and Greek from Sanskrit. So Sanskrit is like a grandmother. Occurred to all Indian languages also similarly. So, this is that pyramid, this is that exact. These are 3 steps. Now, while I was working for several years with the Soviet group of scientists during the communist days at their request. I was doing this. They tried various methods, various types and all of the things, and they said finally is exactly the size which gives the best results. Now, what we burn here is dried cow dung. When I say cow dung, I mean progeny of a cow, male or female of a cow, Go-Vangsha, cow dung. Then you put one dried flat piece at the bottom and arrange a few pieces in such a way that air can pass. Then you take one small piece, apply a little of cow's ghee to that piece and like that and insert that thing inside from center here. And in a few minutes, it will catch fire. You have to do this before the timing of the given to you by the computer, a few minutes before that. So you will have a good fire, what they say is dhoom agni. So that is just as they said, dhoom agni. That means you should have a good fire, blazing fire. Wherever the rice falls, there should be fire. Then you have to use akshata. There is a difference between akshata and rice. Akshata is unbroken. Shata means vrana. And akshata means when there is no wound on the body of rice. Because according to ancient science, if the rice is broken, then as we say the chemical analysis of the two pieces might be the same, but the subtle energy structure around that is broken, so it is useless for healing purposes. That is why you can see anywhere you go in India, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari or from Dwarka to Jagannath Puri, anywhere, any village, you will find any village woman, she is having this rice. If she wants to cook, she will say, of course, whatever the local language, she will say akki, she will say chawal, the local language. But the same lady, if you want to use it for puja, she will say, oh, akshat. But there is a difference between akshat and rice. It has to be unbroken, and the reason is the subtle energy structure. Purna avayava, that is, it has to be complete avayava, that is, nothing should be broken. So that rice, and how much? Just a few grains, as much as you can hold in the tip of your finger, for example. 1 and 2, there are 2 offerings. You apply a little of this cow's ghee to that rice. And then when the fire is ablaze, by the way, do not blow from the mouth on that, because there is bacteria in the mouth, we should not go into that fire. So you can use something, some cardboard like thing or something. Of course, there are some special varieties of bamboo, which even if you blow through that bamboo, that thing will absorb. But normally, you should use a simple thing. Exactly when that moment comes, they give you the timetable according to the seconds. When at that exactly moment, you utter 2 mantras. The first mantra goes like this: Suryaya Swaha, Suryaya Idam Namam. After the Swaha, you put this word of it. Prajapataye Swaha, Prajapataye Idam Namam. You put the second portion of rice, and that is over. This is a simple process, and anybody, anywhere, we have seen in Amazon, where we live, Amazon of Peru, an uneducated boy, he can learn it in a few minutes, all these things. So very easy to learn. But the timing is important. If you miss the timing, nothing happens. But if you do it at the correct time, that particular ash becomes like a miracle ash. The several doctors and pharmacists, I told them long time back when I was in Germany, that this is a wonderful ash, but I do not know how to use it. So they started working on it, and now they have developed a system which is the ancient method of lost science of Ayurveda. And there are books published on that in German language, in English language. We can soon have it in Kannada also now here, for example. Now once English is published, we can have it in any language in India here now. So wonderful methods, and all over the world these medicines are given and treated free. Now talking about farming, look at this basic idea, for example. We have seen, when I was working with some Chinese scientists, that the phosphorus in the soil automatically becomes water soluble. This is something like a miracle, because as you know, especially for India, we have to import the rocks from Morocco and some other countries, that is spending some currency, foreign currency, and also we have to get this sulfur, because you have to use sulfuric acid, and preparation of sulfuric acid itself is a great polluting thing now. And then from 46 to 48% non-soluble P2O5, you bring it to 16 to 18% when you call it superphosphate, for example now. we have seen miraculously how this power comes into this Agnihotra ash of absorbing phosphorus. This is one. Secondly, when you have to do intercropping, and we have to think in terms of intercropping, especially in area such as large parts of India, for example, and several other countries in similar belt, climatic belts, for example, we have so much of sunshine now, we have to make use of that. So, if you can do interplanting in a very systematic way, how will a normal scientist who has now learned only what we call, who knows only the chemical type of farming, for example, he will think, okay, this is our main crop. For that, I have to use so much of nitrogen, so much of phosphorus, so much of K2O. While you do the interplanting, he has to think similarly. Oh, now if I have to plant, say, sesame, if I have to plant turmeric, if I have to plant anything in between, then this will require so much of NPK, that will require so much of, and that comes to a big thing, not only in terms of cost, but also spoilage of the soil. Later on the time comes in more as we have seen, you have still seen the United States Nations reports and others, that more the chemicals, more the pesticides, then the pests become immune to these pesticides, and now they are thinking in terms of biotechnology. Well, let us not go into the subject of biotechnology now, so far as this thing is concerned. Because when we say biotechnology, they are thinking in terms of splicing, and when nature and the ancient methods of grafting, which is also a type of biotechnology, this is something different. Because there are so many unknown variables when you do it with the splicing method, as we are doing today, what we call biotechnology. Leave aside that now. But if you use homotherapy, that means you do this Agnihotra only at one place, and this 4 hours of Trimbakam every day, and for Purnima and Amavasya, full moon and no moon day, as many hours. Of course, you cannot do more than 24, so as possible, people can take turns and do it. If you do that, then the whole atmosphere becomes nourishing and healing. So, you need not think how much NPK I have to give to each crop that I am planting. You make the atmosphere nutritious, and then that is enough. So, you can get large area, with the same, large quantities with the same crop. We have seen some miraculous results. For example, in this Peru, for example, there are so many abandoned farms of cocoa, and cocoa is used for chocolate. So cocoa has what you call, it's a value-added product you can make from cocoa. That's why now the price of organic cocoa is very, very high as compared to this normal cocoa. These plantations are abandoned because now nothing can grow there. We have worked with such plantations, and just in a few months, but what we saw surprising was this you can go on producing cocoa all the year round. It was a shock to us. It was a shock to the people. It was a shock to the farmers. I mean, this is what we call in ancient language of science, it is described as when you do this yajna, something apurva is created. They use the word apurva is created. Apurva means that which was not there before. So, whatever it is, we are interested in the result. Then secondly, a child can learn to do it. And, there is no special thing required. He has to do it in a proper way. This is another advantage. Now, very important is the shelf life, for example. As you know, the recent reports from India about mangoes and all that, they have initially, I think, APEDA, this our central government, APEDA, they started in terms of partly controlled atmosphere cargo units, partly controlled atmosphere, so that to keep these fruits and vegetables. That was a few years ago. Now there are some other methods they want to introduce. I am not talking of radiation method because that is out of question. We don't want to use it at all. But still, you don't have to do anything such thing because the mangoes will last for a very long time. APEDA tried, their aim was anything from 3 to 35 days they wanted to extend the life when it is transported, mango and all that. And how far they have succeeded, we don't know. In the world also they have not succeeded, other countries now, to that extent. Now, with this Homa, it really works beautifully and the taste is excellent now of these mangoes also. So you get large quantities of production. The method is very simple. Some of the other thing is you have to use cow's urine to put those seeds for a while before planting. Then while planting, you have to make your mind full of love, you know. So you can use anything, you know, there are some, like the words like Om Shri, you can use the word Mother Mary, you can use the word Lord Jesus, you know, all that. That means just something holy which you have in your mind, and then do it so that whatever you think at that time, it goes to the seeds. The seeds catch it, so you have to take care of that. And of course there are a few other details, but it is very easy to do it now. Now, when you ask a question, that for example, is there any scientific proof for something? We tell the people we are not scientists. Personally, I have no education at all. So, one thing is, the problem with modern science is, modern science, so far as I know, does not include the results given by phenomenology into their experimental method. You know. Just to put it in another words, one can become an MSc with this, but not a PhD. Because for PhD, you have to say how the whole thing works. That they are not able to do because not enough is known how these subtle energies function. Lot of work was done by Soviet scientists in this respect, you know. Lot of work. Then finally, I would like to tell you about this particular process, how it helps the healing and also the plants. During my last day, just before the Berlin Wall went away and the end of communism, just a few years before that, I was told that by this group of scientists, government encouraged them to work on all these homas and mantras and all that because they found very interesting results. For psychotherapy also they found very interesting results, not only farming and medicine. So they said that after the year 2000, a time will come when everything in Europe, and they specifically said not only Eastern Europe, but all of Europe will become radioactive. And we have no solution for that. And according to what the work they did, Agnihotra ash, what we call bhasma, budi, that Agnihotra ash is the solution for that. You know, it's difficult to explain, they say. Only thing they told, being all communist, it's all secret thing, there's nothing. In Peru, well, it's an open society, so they give us signed documents. You can see our web page and you can see the signed documents signed by aeronautical engineers connected with the office of the President of Peru. So they are top people in their own country. Now you know how this is. But you are not able to explain how these energies form. So when you talk of scientific experimentation, what I would say is, supposing that this Homa therapy is able to cure all the diseases all over the world in each and every square meter of land on earth. That they were not able to do anything, but this Homa therapy has cured. Still, it is not a scientific proof. You know, how can you show? Because you don't know how it functions. So, anyway, so the time has now come that this will take care of the soil. This will take care of the atmosphere. This will take care of the water resources. So whosoever is interested, it is taught free, and go by your own organic methods. If you think that there are some problems, try this with Homa therapy if you are able to solve this. Thank you.